Thank you all for being here today. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to share some insights with you about your 20s, a time that is so pivotal and influential, yet often misunderstood. Your 20s are a unique and transformative period in your life. It's a time of incredible potential growth and possibility. But it's also a time filled with challenges, uncertainties, and major decisions that can shape the entire trajectory of it. And the truth is, there's a lot about this decade that nobody really tells you. So today, I want to pull back the curtain and shed some light on the realities of your 20s. I'm going to share with you the key lessons, strategies, and mindsets that can help you not just survive, but thrive during this amazing and often underappreciated time in your life. I know many of you may be feeling excited and optimistic about your 20s. After all, this is the decade where you're finally out on your own, pursuing your dreams and building the foundation for the rest of your life. And that's absolutely true, but it's also a period filled with a whole lot of unknowns. Your 20s are a time of immense transition. You're no longer a teenager, but you're also not quite a full-fledged adult yet. You're navigating new responsibilities, relationships, and major life decisions, all while trying to figure out who you really are and what you want to do with your life. And let me tell you, that can be incredibly daunting. There's so much pressure to have it all figured out. The perfect career, the perfect partner, the perfect life. But the reality is, very few people do. In fact, most of us are just making it up as we go along. That's why it's so important to have the right mindset and strategies in place to not just survive, but truly thrive during this formative decade. Because the truth is, your 20s are a time of immense opportunity. They're a chance to explore, experiment, and lay the groundwork for the rest of your life. But in order to make the most of this precious time, you need to approach it with intention, resilience, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. You need to be willing to take risks, make mistakes, and constantly evolve and adapt. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today. I'm going to share with you the essential lessons and strategies that will help you navigate your 20s with confidence, clarity, and a deep sense of purpose. The first and most important thing to understand about your 20s is that this is a time of tremendous personal growth and self-discovery. This is the decade where you're really going to start to figure out who you are, what you value, and what you want to do with your life. Now, that process can be both exhilarating and terrifying. Because as you start to peel back the layers and get to know yourself on a deeper level, you're inevitably going to encounter some uncomfortable truths. You're going to confront your fears, your insecurities, and the parts of yourself that you've been hiding from. But here's the thing, that process of self-discovery is absolutely essential for your growth and fulfillment, because the more you know yourself, the more you'll be able to make empowered choices about your life. The more you understand your unique strengths, values, and passions, the more you'll be able to align your actions with what truly matters to you. And that's why it's so important to embrace this journey of self-discovery with an open, curious mindset. Don't try to rush through it or bypass the tough stuff. Lean into the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the moments of self-reflection. Because it's only by doing the deep inner work that you'll be able to truly blossom into the person you're meant to be. One of the key things that can really help you during this process of self-discovery is developing a strong sense of self-awareness. This means taking the time to really understand your thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and the underlying beliefs and patterns that shape. When you're self-aware, you're able to see yourself more objectively. You can recognize your triggers, your default coping mechanisms, and the ways in which your past experiences have shaped who you are today. And that kind of self-knowledge is incredibly powerful because it allows you to make more conscious and empowered choices about how you want to show up in the world. For example, let's say you have a tendency to get defensive or shut down when you receive criticism. With self-awareness, you can recognize that pattern and consciously choose to respond differently the next time. You can take a deep breath, listen openly, and use that feedback as an opportunity for growth, rather than falling into your usual protective stance. And that's just one small example. The truth is, developing self-awareness can transform every area of your life, from your relationships to your career, to your overall sense of fulfillment and well-being. When you truly know yourself, you're able to make choices that are deeply aligned with who you are. And that's the key to living a life of purpose, passion, and meaning. So I encourage you to make self-awareness a priority during your 20s. Take the time for regular self-reflection, whether it's through journaling, meditation, or simply carving out space for quiet introspection. Get curious about the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that shape your experience. And don't be afraid to dig deep and confront the parts of yourself that you'd rather avoid. Because the more you know yourself, the more empowered you'll be to create the life you truly want. And that leads me to the next crucial lesson about your 20s, the importance of taking ownership of your life. You see, this is the decade where you're really stepping into adulthood and taking charge of your own destiny. No more relying on your parents or teachers to guide you. This is your time to step up and start shaping your own future. And that can be both exhilarating and terrifying, because with that newfound freedom and responsibility comes the weight of having to make your own choices and live with the consequences. But here's the thing. When you take full ownership of your life, that's when the magic really starts to happen. Because when you stop blaming external circumstances or other people for your situation and instead take radical responsibility for your life, you unlock an incredible wellspring of power and possibility. You go from being a passive observer to an active creator of your reality. I know that might sound a bit daunting. After all, the idea of taking full responsibility for your life can feel incredibly overwhelming, especially when you're just starting out. But I promise you, it's worth it. Because when you adopt an ownership mindset, you also gain the ability to transform your circumstances and create the life you truly want. Think about it this way. If you believe that your boss, your partner, or your financial situation is the reason you're not where you want to be in life, then you're essentially handing over your power to those external factors. You're making yourself a victim of your circumstances. But when you take ownership, you shift into a proactive, solution-oriented mindset. You start asking yourself, okay, what can I do to improve this situation, rather than dwelling on the problems? You focus on the actions you can take to create positive change. And that's such an empowering place to be, because it means that no matter what challenges or obstacles come your way, you have the tools and the agency to navigate them effectively. You're not at the mercy of fate or circumstance. You're the captain of your own ship. I know that's easier said than done. Taking full ownership of your life can be a real challenge, especially when you're facing big decisions or dealing with difficult situations. It's natural to want to blame external factors or seek validation from others. But I encourage you to push past that temptation and really internalize the power of an ownership mindset. Start by focusing on the things you can control. Your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions. Recognize that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can absolutely control how you respond. And when you do that, when you take full responsibility for your life, you open up a world of possibilities. You become the architect of your own destiny, rather than a passive passenger. You start making choices that are deeply aligned with your values and your vision for the future. And that, my friends, is where the real magic happens. Because when you take ownership of your life, you unlock your full potential. You become unstoppable. I know I've covered a lot of ground here, and you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed. But I want you to know that taking ownership of your life doesn't have to be an all or nothing proposition. It's a muscle that you can build over time, with consistent practice and a willingness to learn and grow. Start small. Focus on the areas of your life where you feel like you have the most control and agency. Maybe it's your daily habits and routines, or your approach to your work or studies. Begin to recognize the power of your choices and the impact they have on your life. And as you start to build that ownership muscle, gradually expand it to other areas of your life. Challenge yourself to take more responsibility, to make more intentional choices, and to confront the fears and limiting beliefs that might be holding you back. Because the more you do that, the more you'll start to see the incredible dividends it pays. You'll feel more confident, more resilient, and more in control of your life. And that, my friends, is the foundation for true fulfillment and success. As important as it is to take ownership of your life, it's equally crucial that you also learn to embrace the power of flexibility and adaptability during your 20s. Because the truth is, no matter how much you plan and prepare, your life is going to be filled with unexpected twists and turns. And that can be really, really hard, especially when you're just starting out. After all, you've probably spent a good portion of your life following a relatively linear path. Going to school, getting good grades, checking all the boxes. And now, as you step out into the real world, you're faced with a whole new level of uncertainty and unpredictability. But here's the thing, your ability to navigate that uncertainty and adapt to change is going to be one of the most critical skills you can develop during this time. Because the reality is the world is changing at a faster pace than ever before. The jobs, the technologies, the social norms that we take for granted today may look completely different in just a few years. And that means that the rigid linear approach that may have served you well in school is no longer going to cut it. Instead, you need to be agile, resilient, and willing to constantly evolve and adapt. I know that's easier said than done. Change can be scary, and letting go of our attachment to control and uncertainty isn't always easy, but I promise you it's absolutely essential for your growth and success. Because when you learn to embrace flexibility and adaptability, you unlock a whole new level of possibility. You become able to pivot quickly, take advantage of new opportunities, and navigate challenges with grace and confidence. Imagine, for example, that you spend years preparing for a certain career path, only to find that the industry is completely disrupted and the job you thought you wanted no longer exists. In the past, that might have been a devastating and derailing experience. But when you've cultivated a mindset of flexibility, you're able to see it as an opportunity rather than a crisis. You can take a step back, reassess your values and interests, and then start exploring new directions that might be an even better fit. You can tap into your transferable skills, your willingness to learn, and your ability to think outside the box. And you can do it all with a sense of excitement and possibility, rather than fear and anxiety. That's the power of embracing change and uncertainty. It allows you to stay nimble, to seize new opportunities, and to keep growing and evolving no matter what life throws your way. I know that's a lot to take in, and you might be wondering, okay, great, but how exactly do I cultivate this kind of flexibility and adaptability? Well, I'm glad you asked. The first and most important step is to shift your mindset. Instead of seeing change and uncertainty as threats, start to view them as exciting possibilities. Recognize that the more you can let go of your attachment to control and rigidity, the more room you create for new experiences, new perspectives, and new levels of growth. And one of the best ways to do that is through the practice of mindfulness. When you're able to be fully present, to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, you start to develop a sense of equanimity and acceptance. You become less reactive and more responsive to the ebb and flow of life. Meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating this kind of mindfulness, but you can also find other practices that work for you. Journaling, spending time in nature, or even just taking a few deep breaths whenever you feel yourself starting to get stressed or anxious. The key is to create space for self-awareness and self-reflection. When you can step back and observe your own thoughts and behaviors, you gain the ability to consciously choose how you want to respond, rather than just defaulting to habitual patterns. And that is the foundation for true flexibility and adaptability. Because when you're grounded in your own inner experience, you're less likely to get caught up in the drama and chaos of external circumstances. You can maintain your center, stay focused on your values and priorities, and make decisions that are truly aligned with who you are. Of course, developing this kind of mindset and skill set takes time and practice. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but I can assure you it's one of the most valuable investments you can make during your 20s. Because the more you can cultivate flexibility and adaptability, the more resilient and successful you'll be, not just in your career, but in every aspect of your life. You'll be able to navigate major life transitions, embrace new challenges, and continuously reinvent yourself in a way that feels deeply fulfilling and purposeful. And that brings me to the next crucial lesson about your 20s, the importance of developing growth mindset. You see, one of the key differences between those who thrive in this decade and those who struggle is the way they approach learning and growth. I know the idea of a growth mindset might sound a little abstract, but it's actually a profoundly simple and powerful concept. Essentially, growth mindset is the belief that your abilities and talents are not fixed, but can be developed and expanded through effort, practice, and a willingness to learn. In contrast, a fixed mindset is the belief that your capabilities are set in stone, that you're either good at something or you're not, and there's nothing you can really do to change that. And let me tell you, a fixed mindset can be a real anchor during your 20s, holding you back from reaching your full potential. Because the truth is, your 20s are a time of incredible growth and transformation. You're going to be faced with new challenges, new skills to develop, and new ways of thinking that you've never encountered before. And if you approach those experiences with a fixed mindset, you're likely to get bogged down by fear, self-doubt, and a reluctance to step outside your comfort zone. But when you have a growth mindset, you see those challenges as exciting opportunities for learning and development. You're not afraid to make mistakes or try new things because you know that every setback and every failure is a chance to grow and improve. And that kind of mindset is absolutely essential for navigating the ups and downs of your 20s. Because let's face it, this decade is not going to be a linear, smooth sailing journey. You're going to encounter obstacles, roadblocks, and curveballs at every turn. And the way you respond to those challenges is going to make all the difference. If you approach them with a fixed mindset, you're likely to get discouraged, give up, or find yourself stuck in a cycle of negative self-talk and self-limiting beliefs. But if you have a growth mindset, you'll see those challenges as opportunities to stretch yourself, to learn and grow, and to become an even stronger, more capable version of yourself. I know it's not always easy to cultivate a growth mindset, especially when you're surrounded by societal messages that tell you that your worth and abilities are fixed. We live in a world that often values natural talent and effortless success over hard work and consistent improvement. But I'm here to tell you that a growth mindset is one of the most powerful tools you can have in your arsenal during your 20s. Because when you believe that your skills and capacities are not set in stone, but can be developed and expanded through dedication and persistence, you unlock a whole new world of possibility. You start to see failures and setbacks not as evidence of your inadequacy, but as valuable learning experiences. You become more willing to step outside your comfort zone, try new things, and take on challenging projects because you know that the process of growth and improvement is what really matters, not just the end result. And that kind of mindset is essential for thriving in a rapidly changing world. Because the truth is, the skills and knowledge that you learn today may not be relevant or even applicable tomorrow. The jobs and industries that exist now may look completely different in a decade. So if you want to stay relevant, competitive, and fulfilled, you have to be willing to continuously learn, grow, and evolve. You have to be able to adapt to new situations, acquire new skills, and approach challenges with a sense of curiosity and possibility rather than fear and resistance. And that's where a growth mindset becomes truly invaluable. It allows you to stay flexible, resilient, and engaged in the lifelong process of personal and professional development. It gives you the courage and the determination to keep pushing yourself, to keep taking risks, and to keep growing, even in the face of setbacks and uncertainties. Because let's be honest, your 20s are not going to be a smooth, linear journey. There will be ups and downs, triumphs and failures, moments of clarity and moments of total confusion. And if you approach this decade with a fixed mindset, you run the risk of getting trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, self-criticism, and a deep sense of inadequacy. But when you have a growth mindset, you see those challenges as opportunities. You embrace the uncertainty, the vulnerability, and the discomfort of growth, because you know that it's the only way to truly expand your horizons and become the best version of yourself. And trust me, that ability to continuously learn, adapt, and evolve is going to be an absolute game changer, not just in your 20s, but throughout the rest of your life. Because the reality is the world is changing faster than ever before, and the skills and knowledge that we need to thrive are constantly shifting. So if you want to future-proof your career, your relationships, and your overall sense of fulfillment, you have to be willing to embrace that growth mindset. You have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone, take calculated risks, and constantly seek out new opportunities for learning and development. And I know that may sound daunting, but I can assure you it's so worth it. Because when you make that commitment to personal growth and lifelong learning, you unlock a level of resilience, adaptability, and self-belief that will serve you well, not just in your 20s, but in every stage of your life. You'll be able to navigate the ups and downs of your career with greater ease, take on new challenges with a sense of excitement rather than fear, and continuously reinvent yourself in a way that feels deeply fulfilling and aligned with your values and aspirations. And that is the true power of a growth mindset. It's not just about achieving success in your 20s. It's about developing the mindset and the skill set that will empower you to thrive throughout your entire life. So as you embark on this incredible, transformative decade, I encourage you to embrace that growth mindset with open arms, approach each new challenge, each new opportunity, and each new setback with a sense of curiosity and possibility. Be willing to take risks, make mistakes, and constantly seek out new ways to grow and evolve. And above all, remember that the journey of personal development is not a linear one. It's a winding, ever-evolving path filled with both triumphs and struggles. But if you stay committed to that growth mindset, you stay open, resilient, and adaptable, I can assure you that the rewards will be truly profound. Because the truth is, your 20s are not just about surviving, they're about thriving. They're about stepping into your full power, discovering your unique gifts and talents, and laying the foundation for a life of purpose, passion, and meaning. And with the right mindset, the right strategies, and the right support, you have the potential to do incredible things. You have the capacity to create a life that is not just successful, but deeply fulfilling. A life that is not just about chasing external markers of achievement, but about honoring your true values and living in alignment with your highest self. So don't let anyone tell you that your 20s are a time of struggle and uncertainty. Instead, embrace this decade as a precious gift, a time of immense growth possibility and self-discovery. Approach it with courage, curiosity, and a deep commitment to your own personal evolution. And remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. In fact, the greatest gift you can give yourself during this time is the willingness to explore, experiment, and continuously evolve. Trust the process. Embrace the unknown. And know that with each step you take, you're getting closer and closer to becoming the best version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's what your 20s are really all about. Discovering who you are, what you're capable of, and the unique gifts you have to offer the world. It's about stepping into your power, finding your purpose, and creating a life that is deeply meaningful and fulfilling. So don't hold back, don't play it safe. Dive in, take risks, and trust that every experience, every challenge, and every moment of growth is shaping you into the person you're meant to become. Because the truth is, your 20s are not just a phase to get through, they're a pivotal time that can set the tone for the rest of your life. So make the most of it, embrace it. And know that with the right mindset, the right strategies, and the unwavering belief in your own potential, you can achieve truly remarkable things. Thank you all for being here today. I hope that these insights have inspired you to approach your 20s with a renewed sense of purpose, possibility, and excitement. Remember, the future is yours to create. So go forth and make it extraordinary.